Tonight, amid continuing accusations, Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn arrives in Scotland and vows to act against any party members who behave in an anti-Semitic way.
We are very concerned to make sure there can always be an open and proper debate about Israel and its foreign policy and about the Palestinian people and their rights and their future.
Also tonight, police say it could take 3 days to complete a search of a farm near Huntly in a probe over drugs and stolen property. 3 years after it was destroyed by fire, Ballater train station reopens to a royal seal of approval.
It's wonderful to see Ballater station finally opening up after 3 years. It's been a long journey to get here, but the end product is absolutely fantastic.
And a song for their city. We speak to the Proclaimers about their latest musical tribute. Good evening, I'm Sharon Donaldson. This is the STV News at 6, live from Aberdeen. Jeremy Corbyn has vowed to take action against any party members who behave in an anti-Semitic way. The UK Labour leader arrived in Scotland for the start of a 4-day visit amid continuing accusations against his party. It comes after a councillor was suspended over online comments made about the row. Ewan Petrie reports.
Jeremy Corbyn used a visit to a bus factory in Falkirk to outline the direction he wants to drive the economy. He believes places like this would benefit from Labour's plans to use government spending to buy British where possible.
There will be the use of public procurement, the purchasing power of central government and local government to buy local and to buy in a sustainable way. Yes, there will be a borrowing requirement from central government, UK-based central government, to start the National Investment Bank, and that too will lever in funds as well. But we cannot cut our way to prosperity. Austerity has clearly failed. The only way forward is to invest in the future.
This is the first day of 4 that Jeremy Corbyn will be touring target constituencies in Scotland. But his visit here coincides with a fresh wave of controversy over the long-running row of anti-Semitism within his own party. Over the weekend, the former Labour MP and now councillor Jim Sheridan was suspended over online remarks about a loss of empathy and respect for the Jewish community. He is the second Labour councillor to be suspended over comments made about the anti-Semitism row over the summer months.
And this is when opposition parties get an opportunity to set the agenda rather than allowing it to be set by government. And instead of the Labour Party being able to develop and put forward its alternative view for the United Kingdom, instead it's completely mired in a situation of its own making.
Isn't this an issue that could have been dealt with by now and therefore wouldn't be overshadowing this visit?
Well, you're overshadowing it by asking that question in the first place. I've made it very clear. Anti-Semitism is not acceptable anywhere, any place, any time, in any form. The NEC, our party members are fully aware of that. And we take action against anyone that behaves in an anti-Semitic way. I will not allow any anti-Semitism anywhere in our society or any other form of racism, be it Islamophobia, be it far-right racism or any other sort.
Jeremy Corbyn will continue his trip with a visit to Lanark tomorrow. He'll be looking to turn the focus on Labour's target seats for the next general election. Ewan Petrie, STV News, Falkirk.
Well, to our political editor Bernard Ponsonby. Bernard, Jeremy Corbyn is here for 4 days, a bit of a marathon visit for a Westminster politician. What's he hoping to achieve?
Well, he's certainly very busy. Falkirk this morning, Edinburgh this evening, Lanark tomorrow, where he will have a photo call with people who have already been selected as Labour candidates for the next Westminster election. And what he's attempting to achieve is to say to his Scottish party, you're on an election footing. Why does he think that they have to be on an election footing? Because he believes that whatever the outcome of the Brexit negotiations, it has the capacity to collapse the government at Westminster, and therefore Labour have to be on a state of election alert. If they don't make gains in Scotland, they will not win that general election. election and Jeremy Corbyn will not be Prime Minister. Now, more broadly on the policy portfolio today, what he was saying in Falkirk was that the next Labour government will boost government spending, particularly as it relates to manufacturing industry. That's an absolutely key issue for him. But as we've been hearing in Ewan's report, he simply cannot shake off this anti-Semitism row, and that's likely to rumble all the way to the party conference in Liverpool next month.
Bernard, thanks for that. A major police investigation has continued after drugs and stolen property were found near Huntly. The discovery was made by officers over the weekend at a farm building near Drumdelgate near the Aberdeenshire town. Officers have been carrying out a large-scale search of the premises in what's been described as a proactive inquiry. Well, Stephen Brown is at the scene for us this evening. Stephen.
Well, police have been here all day today as part of this continuing investigation. All that they have confirmed to us is that some drugs were found in some of the farm buildings behind me when they raided these premises on Saturday morning, along with stolen property. Now, to put into context where we are, it's around 2 to 3 miles outside of Huntly. It is a rather secluded area. There are some houses around about, and there's actually also a gym that backs on to the farmyard as well. Now, a number of cars, motorbikes and even a jet ski were seen on the back of lorries leaving here over the course of the weekend as part of this investigation. And as you can imagine, this has all come as a bit of surprise to many locals.
It's shock, and I think that's being felt by the wider community as well. We live in an area where luckily we have relatively low crime rates, but certainly very low serious crime rates. We don't obviously know the full scale of what's happened here yet, but from what we have seen and heard, it's quite significant, and I think it's just that shock of the community.
And Stephen, do we know any more about those who were using the premises?
Well, police haven't confirmed anything to us, but speaking to local people, they say those who have been renting these farm buildings only really moved in the last 3 or 4 weeks. One person told us that they heard a number of motorbikes, loud shouting and dogs barking on Wednesday and Thursday evening, and then they woke up on Saturday morning to that raid starting as well. Now, police say at the moment there is no valuation on either the drugs or the property that was seized here. They also say they're likely to be here for a couple of days yet because this is quite a large scale investigation, and also at the moment there are no arrests as part of this investigation either.
Thanks for that update, Stephen. The brother of a man killed in a road crash in Edinburgh in May is calling for justice as his killer remains at large. Jonathan Smith died after a multi-car smash on the Maybury Road caused by the driver of a stolen Audi. Police say the investigation is still ongoing and no arrests have been made. Faster broadband has driven a £9 billion increase in turnover for businesses, according to new figures. The boost following the government's rollout of superfast broadband, which has reached nearly 5 million homes and businesses. The ambition is to ensure everyone in the UK has access to fast and affordable broadband by 2020. Over £1.5 million of fraud has been prevented by Police Scotland in the past 5 months as the force takes part in a new prevention scheme. The banking protocol introduced in March gives banking staff more power to act if they suspect something suspicious. Sports still to come on the programme, and Sean has the weather prospects.
We've seen quite a lot of cloud around today, especially across northern and eastern parts. The best of the cloud breaks across western areas. Fairly similar again tomorrow, but turning quite wet and windy in the northwest later on in the day. Join me later for all the details.
Now time for more local news. I'll have the stories for the north, and in Dundee, it's Lynn Rankin. It's emerged 25 people were allowed into an Aberdeen secondary school after asbestos had been disturbed there. The Knight Union says a report into the incident at Bridge of Dawn Academy shows a catastrophic failure by Aberdeen City Council. The local authority says it's supporting a health and safety executive investigation. Ross Govans reports.
The Aberdeen City Council report reveals a series of failures and shows 25 people were allowed into the building following the disturbance of asbestos during work. They included contractors, teachers, janitors and cleaners. The material had been left next to a skip. There was no emergency response because a line manager had forgot about the incident for almost a week. The report says the area had not been correctly decontaminated and wasn't safe.
We're very disappointed to hear language from the management that this is low-level contamination, low-level exposure. How do they know that? They're not the scientists. They're basing that on a report that was done 1 week later in the area. The reality was there was people in that area working, breaking this material up. As far as we're concerned, they were in fact highly exposed to this material.
In a statement, Aberdeen City Council said the health, safety and well-being of staff, pupils, contractors and visitors is a priority, and the authority has robust policies, procedures and training in place in relation to asbestos. The incident at Bridge of Dawn Academy has been the subject of an internal investigation, and the council is supporting a health and safety executive probe.
At the very least, they are admitting now that this was a catastrophic failure on the part of the council. The concern here is, of course, we've now got Hazelhead to look into. And of course, is there other schools that we are unaware of at this time?
It emerged on Friday that asbestos had been found in another city school, Hazelhead Academy. Both it and Bridge of Dawn are due to open again to pupils tomorrow.
Tributes have been paid to a teenager found dead in Stornoway on Friday. 17-year-old Hannah Mackenzie from Graver in Lewis had earlier been reported missing. The rector of the Nicholson Institute, where Hannah was a sixth-year pupil, said she was a vibrant and well-liked girl and they were providing support to pupils. The rail line between Aberdeen and Dyce has reopened after engineers completed an upgrade. The section on the Aberdeen to Inverness route was shut for 3 months. It marks the first phase of a multi-million-pounds project to improve rail services.
Over the last 14 weeks we've installed nearly 10 kilometres of new rail, we've installed some new bridges here, lots of new ballast, about 76,000 tonnes of ballast, so it's been a massive engineering challenge over the last 14 weeks with a lot of pre-planning over the last couple of years.
The family of a 15-year-old boy from Aberdeenshire who died after falling ill have paid tribute to their loving son. Corey Doyle of Fetter Cairn died on Sunday. In a statement, his family say the Mearns Academy pupil was a much-loved son, brother and grandson. Workers on 3 Total platforms in the North Sea are staging a 24-hour strike. It's the latest in a series of stoppages in a dispute over rota changes. The Alwyn, Dunbar and Elgin platforms are affected. A memorial to a 6-year-old boy and his mother who died after getting into difficulty in the water at Aberdeen Beach has been unveiled. It's 2 years since Lucas Walker and his mother Julie died after being swept out to sea. A stone memorial funded by family members has now been put in place on the beach esplanade. Drum Castle has created a special garden to commemorate the forthcoming centenary of the end of the First World War. White flowers have been planted across National Trust properties in Aberdeenshire to mark 100 years since the armistice. Gardeners say the white represents peace.
Gardens are a great place for culture and for resilience. This project with the white border, it's also to signify and to signify that regeneration and hope is always there.
Now, revellers were left shaken and stirred by an appearance from Hollywood star Idris Elba as he took to the decks to DJ at the Groove Festival on the banks of Loch Ness at the weekend. The actor, who's tipped to become the next James Bond, played dance music to around 2,000 partygoers. Organisers say the beauty spot is the perfect place to hold the festival, billed as the party under the stars. Those were your local stories in the north. If you've got a story you think we might be interested in, you can contact us on Facebook and Twitter. A A former royal station destroyed by fire has risen from the ashes. Ballater was once regularly used by the royal family when staying at Balmoral, but the station was gutted in a massive blaze 3 years ago. Now it's been officially reopened after a major £3 million refurbishment, and it's had the royal seal of approval. A warning, Colin White's report contains flashing images.
This was Ballater Station 3 years ago after a devastating fire. Today it was reopened by Councillor Bill Howitson, the Lord Provost of Aberdeenshire. The refurbishment has cost the council £3.2 million.
It's a big day for the community. What's on offer in here in terms of the new build is really very, very important, and I think it'll be a major community asset.
In its heyday before its closure in the 60s, Ballater was a popular station on a popular route. Prince Charles has been and remains a regular visitor. But today it was the Duchess of Rothesay on a private visit after the official opening who gave it the royal seal of approval. The Prince's Foundation now runs a restaurant and tea room here.
It's a centre of the village and really much a focus for visitors to come to the village and learn about the history, learn about the royal connection, and also an opportunity just to enjoy something to eat, something to drink, and learning more about the region.
And tourism is vital. Confidence was dented in 2015 by a fire at one of Ballater's major hotels and the destruction of the royal station. Storm Frank also brought devastating floods. The new station is an important part of Ballater's revival.
Well, I think over the last 3 years what we have seen is tourists not stopping in Ballater, and they travel straight through on up to Braemar to see the wonderful things they've got to offer, or back down towards Aboyne and out that way. So it will hopefully encourage visitors to stop, enjoy Ballater, discover Ballater, and in the future come back and stay for longer periods in Ballater.
The rebuilt station houses a visitor information centre and library, but the royal carriage is the main centrepiece, along with, of course, the recreated royal waiting room. After the fires and floods of 2015, today's opening is highly significant for this Deeside community. It means that this village is now firmly back, once again, on the tourist map. Colin White, STV News, Ballater.
Well, now it's time for all the sport with Tyrone.
He's created an opening here. He's really turning on the style. What a match! STV Sports News, sponsored by Wholesale Domestic Bathrooms.
Good evening. We're still waiting to hear how much Aberdeen have been told to pay Hamilton for midfielder Lewis Ferguson. With the two clubs unable to reach an agreement on compensation, the matter went before an SPFL tribunal today. Since arriving under freedom of contract earlier in the summer, Lewis Ferguson's certainly made an impact at Pittodrie. He's already established himself in the Aberdeen side after several standout displays. The only cloud hanging over the move is how much the Dons must pay for the 18-year-old. Given Ferguson's age, his former employers, Hamilton Accies, are entitled to development compensation. With Aberdeen initially offering £100,000 and Accies wanting over £1 million, the clubs couldn't reach an agreement, which is why the matter ended up at Hampden today. Representatives from both teams making their case before an SPFL tribunal, who will rule on the matter. As things stand, the outcome of that hearing has yet to be disclosed. Elsewhere, Premiership new boys Livingston are looking for a new manager following the departure of player boss Kenny Miller. Livy say Miller, who was appointed in June, has moved on after declining a club request to give up his playing career and focus solely on coaching.
We've taken the opportunity to part company fairly amicably and we move on. You know, this was something that I think Kenny, being the professional that he is, he wanted to give his all in the park, and he also wanted to be able to do the management stuff and the behind the scenes stuff. And you know, perhaps with the benefit in hindsight, we were all a wee bit naive in thinking that it would be just as straightforward and just as easy.
I think the statement that come out just covers all bases. It covers bases for Kenny and it covers Livingston. I don't think that's the real facts of the matter. I think the real facts of the matter is Kenny wasn't getting to make the decisions that he wanted in terms of bringing players in and bringing maybe another coach in to try and help him along. In terms of says they've parted ways because Kenny they just wanted a manager. That would have been, that's nonsense as far as I'm concerned.
In other news, Dundee have named defender Josh Meekings as their new captain. Meekings, who skippered the side during Saturday's shock 3-0 home League Cup defeat to Ayr United, has been handed the armband on a permanent basis. Meanwhile, St Johnstone were paired with League Cup holders Celtic in yesterday's quarter-final draw. Saints, who knocked out Queen of the South, will welcome the Hoops to Perth. After thrashing St Mirren, Aberdeen will travel to Ross County's conquerors Hibernian. Elsewhere, Ayr United will go to Rangers and Hearts will play Motherwell. Gymnastics now, and three-time world champion Beth Tweddle hopes a new facility in Aberdeen can help inspire a new generation of stars. She was speaking at the official launch of a new gymnastics performance centre in the Granite City. Chris Harvey was there.
Kirsty Fowler is just one of the young upcoming stars, hoping the new Alex Colley Gymnastic Performance Centre in Aberdeen will help provide the platform for her Olympic dreams. On hand to open the world-class training facility was Britain's most successful gymnast Beth Tweddle. The three-times Olympian spent time afterward passing on her skills to members of the City of Aberdeen Gymnastics Club.
Someone had a vision about this venue nearly 2 or 3 years ago, and then to see that vision come to life, and the amount of gymnasts that are in here today, and hopefully just by me being here, by Izzy being here, we can inspire them that, do you know what, it's just with a little bit of hard work that they can reach the Commonwealth Games, they can reach the World Championships.
Izzy Tolometti, fresh from leading the Scottish team at the Gold Coast Commonwealth Games in Australia, hopes the facility will help her ahead of the European and World Championships next year.
Oh, it would be amazing that, the fact that this equipment here is fully facilitated, they don't need to put it up or put it away, is amazing. It makes it so much easier and quicker for the gymnasts to get new skills as well. So it's amazing to be able to go on there confident in a competition, knowing you've got the equipment, you can do it and you can do fine, yeah.
So for me it was kind of every 6 months, European Championships, World Championships, European Championships. It's just a bit like Groundhog, but I just love the sport. I mean, I said it before, why did I continue until I was 28? The main reason was I loved what I did, and as a child I didn't dream of becoming an Olympic medalist or a world champion. I just did it because I love flipping around.
The enormous upsurge in the number of young people taking up gymnastics across all disciplines has made facilities like this one essential to foster and retain exceptional performers in the sport.
Well, I think it helps a lot with all the different kind of equipment and stuff, so we can improve skills and make up to that big level.
Yeah, I agree with Lexi, because we don't just have one brand of equipment, so when you go to competitions it's all different, so it gets you used to different types of equipment.
The Alex Colley Centre has well and truly raised the bar. It's now up to the gymnasts. Chris Harvey, STV News.
Tennis now, and Jamie Murray and Bruno Soares secured their third ATP World Tour title of the season after winning the Cincinnati Masters. They defeated Juan Sebastian Cabal and Robert Farah in 3 sets to be crowned champions. It's ideal preparation for the pair ahead of the US Open, which starts later this month.
To come here and win the Masters, especially after probably kind of disappointing performance last week, was huge. So, we practiced hard, we put our time in on the courts, and we got a reward this week. I think we fought really well in a lot of difficult moments, a lot of close matches, and to win the tie breaks the way we did was really pleasing.
Well done to them, and fingers crossed that good form continues at the US Open. But for me, for now, that's all tonight's sport.
He's created an opening here. He's really turning on the style. What a match! STV Sports News, sponsored by Wholesale Domestic Bathrooms.
Now here's Sean with a look at the weather forecast.
TUI sponsors STV Weather.
A very good evening to you. Well, the jet stream is still going to be very close by through this week, coming out of Canada, wiggling its way across the Atlantic, so continuing to bring low pressure systems in from the west. So the weather again this week staying rather changeable. Showers, longer spells of rain at times. If you want the hot and sunny weather to come back, that jet stream needs to head well to the north. Not yet, but as we go into September, there are some little hints that things should settle back down once again. But for the time being, the weather is still fairly quiet, mind you, even with the jet stream nearby. We've had quite a bit of cloud around the north, the northeast during today, the odd isolated shower, the best of the breaks across central and western parts. That'll be the case during tonight as well. Also across the northern Isles too, and temperatures locally down to say about 8 or 9 degrees Celsius. We've had some rather chilly nights over the last couple of nights in a few spots. So tomorrow morning we'll see thickening cloud coming into western areas along with showery outbreaks of rain. That'll drift its way northwards across the North Highlands, then into the Northern Isles a little bit later on the day. But it does look as if the best of the brightest spells through the afternoon will be around Easter Ross, Inverness, Moray, also Aberdeenshire. And given the southerly airflow, as we come off the Grampians on the Moray coast, could manage to get up to about 22 or 23 degrees. So in the sunny spells here, it should actually feel pretty decent. But it will be quite windy in the northwest, that rain turning heavier here later on in the day. More rain coming into the west on Wednesday, brightest again in the northeast.
TUI sponsors STV Weather.
And finally, the Proclaimers have made no secret of the fact they are proud of their roots in Scotland's capital. Now, a new video accompanying their latest single has sparked worldwide interest because of its scenic shots of both the city and its residents. Kay Nicholson's been speaking to them.
I'll do my best to do the best I can. Yeah, I'll do my best. I'll do my best to do the best I can.
The Proclaimers have been associated with their birthplace since the start of their careers. Sunshine on Leith is an unofficial anthem for their beloved Hibs, and they still rehearse here. Now their latest song and video celebrate the city as a whole and its many contrasts.
I just wanted to get a song that wasn't overly sentimental and had a critical side of the city as well, you know. But it's a place we call home. We've lived most of our lives here, so I wanted to do it justice.
We were saying, well, get a good variety. Don't just make it Greyfriars Bobby and the castle, you know, get a good variety of the city itself and the people that live in it. And I think she's done that very well.
From the city's green spaces to Leith landmarks and the iconic Old Town, director Rianne White filmed in early morning and late at night to capture quieter moments. Quite a change from the hectic festival crowds of August.
There's arguments about how long you should spread it over the summer and the fact that it seems to be almost bigger by the year. And the city doesn't seem to work properly in August because there's that many folk here. So I think there's a lot of debates to be had about the festival, the way it's run, the type of festival it is and who it's for.
Down greasy potholed roadways.
Even the less positive sides of Edinburgh's streets get a mention.
I think the potholes are spectacular and they're bad other places, but Edinburgh's got some real doozies here.
You got any favourite elements of the video?
I think maybe the boy dancing at the end, of the video. I think that's great.
An air of sordid passion, a look of dirty grace, but not right in your face.
From the impact of the video so far and upcoming shows around the world, it's likely to attract even more people to Edinburgh. Kay Nicholson, STV News.
Definitely worth a closer look. I'll be back with the late bulletin at 5 to 11. That's all for now though. From everybody here, have a very good evening. Bye-bye.
For news and more 24 hours a day, download the STV News app.